Let's put this little microphone on again. Right. Okay, hopefully you can hear me well now. Let's talk a little bit about this guy up here. So we spoke about frames, and the frames being, how you create a new coordinate system. So I added a desktop frame here, desktop-sized frame, and now we have a coordinate system where this is 0, 0, this is 100, 100, etc., etc. So that's awesome, but very often we go here next to actually start drawing things. And so you can draw rectangles, lines, arrows, ellipses, polygons, stars, and add an image or a video. And I'd say 99% of the time, I just add rectangles. That's like a joke in my industry. That's like designers, all we do is just draw rectangles. And for good reason. So if we wanted to draw like a beautiful mobile app, I'll draw a rectangle like that. And then I will make it white. I would add a little bit of background here. And maybe I want a button at the bottom. I'll draw a rectangle, add a ton of radius here. Maybe we'll add, make it black, add a little bit of drop shadow to this rectangle, but still, it's always rectangles. And so this, if you're good with the rectangle, you can do pretty much anything inside Figma. So that's why getting familiar with rectangles is a pretty rewarding thing to do. Alrighty, so this is just a demo of how every design is just a bunch of rectangles, and with a little bit of rounded radius to each of them, you have everything you need. Even things like, let's say we have this app has a notification badge. I'll draw that as a square, throw in a bunch of border radius, and now we have a notification badge. So all of that is just to say, although you have these tools to draw a polygon, I typically just do a rectangle. Let's say we wanted to have a play button down here. I'll actually draw a rectangle, turn it into a triangle, and then I'll scale it, I'll put it on here, and now we have a play button. And so in my mind, this is just a rectangle on top of a rectangle. And we want to beautify this. Let's add a little radius, still a rectangle. Anyways, that's just how I approach designing in Figma. I draw rectangles. You'll draw a rectangle, and then you have all the properties down here, like fill, stroke, effects, and export. I have a separate video all about those values that you can play with. So don't worry if I breeze through that right now. But if you want to learn how to do things like the box shadow here, or the corner radius, or create beautiful fills with gradients and stuff, there is a separate video all about just that stuff. But for now, let's just go through these shapes. So rectangle, 99% of the time, that's what you need. A line can be kind of useful to, you want to draw. Maybe you want a separator here or something. Certainly happens, but honestly, I hate to break it, but I would just draw a rectangle that is 1 pixel high, and it looks like a line, but it's actually a rectangle. Because the nice thing about rectangles is I get my fills, I get my strokes, I get my effects. So I have the same tools that I'm used to. And so yeah, even if I need a line, I'll typically just make a rectangle. However, lines do have some nice properties. So let's make this line a little thicker. You can choose to make it have some arrow endings, which is nice, especially when you're just trying to point something out in a Figma file. Then lines can be nice. You can choose which types of things you want on different ends, and you can press this to switcheroo the direction. And you even have more settings for these lines, like how you want the end points to do you want them to be square or round? Do you want to have a dashed line? Then you can set how long are the dashes, how long are the gaps, etc. So lines definitely have a use, but very often I'll just use a rectangle instead. But it might be good to just know that this is how lines behave. What more do we have up here? We have arrows, which is just a line with these settings pre-applied. So I think for UX reasons, they just put a line in here or an arrow. But an arrow is just a line with this setting turned on. And then we have the ellipse. Kind of useful if you ever wanted to make this shape. I rarely use this shape in a design, most often I need a circle for notification badges and whatnot. And then honestly, I'll draw a rectangle and just crank up the radius until it looks like a circle. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, rectangles can get most of the job done, but you can certainly make an ellipse if you prefer that. But yeah, I'll typically just draw a rectangle. Polygons, you can choose how many edges points you want them to have. Might be useful if you're drawing a diagram of a pentagon or something. Otherwise, I rarely use this guy. And finally, star. I mean, obviously useful for drawing stars, but you can also use this guy to draw things like a settings icon, which you want a little cog wheel. So you have the number of points on the thing, and you have the pointiness of the star. And so you can imagine if you do something like this, and you add a little border radius, now you begin to have a cog wheel. And if you want a little hole in there, you can draw a rectangle, center it, add some radius, make it look like the background, and now it kind of looks like a settings icon. So you can sort of be creative with like, this doesn't look like a star, but behind the scenes it's just that star shape. So you can utilize those things, although I rarely do it. And finally, adding an image. I have a whole separate video on just working with images, so I'm not going to go through that right now. One final thing I want to mention about these shapes is that, let's say that you add a rectangle like this. Let me just clear this out. So you add a rectangle like that, and now you want to make a cutout here. So let's say you want to remove this part of the rectangle, so it kind of looks like a C shape or something. What you do then is you select both of these guys and you go up here. And this is how you combine two shapes into a new shape. And you have a few different options here. So union would put them and turn them into the same shape, which can be kind of powerful. Subtraction would remove one from the other. So let's go back to this guy. That's how we get that C shape. It removed that part from this part. And then we have a few different options. Intersect, which will like take the intersection of those two and only keep that. And exclude, which will do this kind of thing. So you can play around with those. It's quite nice when you want to make like, let's say that you want a little night mode switcher. Then you can draw a rectangle. You can make that super round by just cranking up the radius. And now you want to create a moon effect. So this is black. And now you can select those two, a subtract selection. And now you have this little moon effect. You can even go up here and create some stars. That could be kind of cute. And we want these guys to be a little bit more like this kind of shape. Looks maybe like the Turkish flag, I don't know. Yeah, so that's how you play around with shapes, and this is how you combine them. And even though you have merged the two shapes using this tool, you can still access the individual parts here. So you can like, if the moon, maybe you want to sort of have the shifting moon phases, then you can move this around and the subtraction will be updated, which is kind of nice. If you want to, like, no, I want to finalize this and I don't want anybody to mess with this, which might be the case. Let's say that you are creating an icon and you don't want anyone to tweak like the face of this moon thing. You want that to be like solidified, locked down, nobody can change it. Then you can go here and say flatten selection. And now that's like, that data is disappeared. You can't do anything more with those two circles. So that would be like a good option when you want to lock something down. You definitely don't want anyone else to edit those. Anyways, that's a quick primer on the shapes here.